Okay, here we go. Table etiquette. You're like, what the heck? If we were in person, I'd make you actually set a table. We're not in person, but don't worry, we're gonna play a game where we set a table. It's gonna be great. Love it, love it. We're gonna make sure we have some good old manners. Okay, that's what we're here for. All right. We're just going to hit the ground running, people. Maybe you've got some great table manners. If so, feel free to correct me as we're doing this. But I think I've got it pretty down. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts. So we're going to hit the ground running with rules at the table. Okay. And you can practice this the next time you have a meal, especially with other people. I'm surprised I didn't start with why you need to know this. That's a slide a little bit further on. But I will say that this is like, in that same vein of professionalism, there's a reason why we have these unspoken rules about the kind of language that you use in a professional setting, the kind of clothes you need to wear in a professional setting. When I say professional setting, for like your work, you can't just say everything you want to say and every swear word you want to say in your work. You can't just come in wearing whatever you rolled out of bed or whatever you feel most fabulous in that day to your work. It's not to say that you can't wear those clothes ever. Do you? Free country. But there are contexts and whens that we need to think about when we do these things. The same is true of table etiquette. How you eat your McDonald's when you're by yourself is totally fine. Or if you're with your best buddy and you and your best buddy just want to, all the food, go for it. But there will be times when your table etiquette will matter and you will need to eat with manners. I know manners sounds, am I in manners school? No, adulting 101. Unfortunately, this is a part of being an adult, is knowing the whens of things. And so you do need to know when you need to eat with proper table etiquette. And we can talk about when those scenarios are. But also, you don't just need to know when, you know how. You can't just say, well, I'm supposed to eat fancy right now, but I don't know how. Well, that's what I'm here for. So chat says, I do the first one, last one around. Okay, so here we go. We'll get into it. Number one, very simple. If you need to eat and you're in a more formal setting, let's say you're at a banquet or a fancy dinner, if you're at like a work luncheon, maybe you're meeting the boyfriend, the girlfriend's parents for the first time. Okay, yes, I said it. You might want to have good manners. What you don't want them to walk away with is go, that person eats like they were raised in a barn. Yes, that sounds judgy, but this is the world we live in. People do pay attention to these things. And we don't want people to judge you off of that. We want people to judge you as who you are, not based on something that's not true to who you are. So let's move that from their frame of mind by eating well so they can get to know you for you. So wait until everyone is served to eat. First and foremost, don't just start eating. If you're especially at somebody's family dinner, unless y'all, this is different. Think Thanksgiving for a second. Sometimes people set the plates and they set the table and they say like a grace or whatever, and then we all eat at once. But then there's like a buffet style family gathering. My family does that a lot, where they'll like say the grace and then we all go through the line, and as you've gotten your food, you get to start eating. So just pay attention. If you're not sure what to do, just watch. If everybody's sitting at a table first and nobody's eating, just pay attention to what's going on. Don't be the first person to take the first bite. But if you're watching a buffet line thing go on, then you're probably good to start eating as soon as you get your food. Put your napkin in your lap. This is not just a rule. There's a reason for this. It's because you don't want to wear your baked beans on your pants. Like, especially if you've got some good looking pants, you just got them. Especially folks, if we're wearing the white shorts, the white jeans, talking to you ladies, I love my white jeans, and I know that something's going to end up on them if I wear them. Gentlemen, this is you with your khakis. You're wearing your nice clothes. Oh, well, bam, you don't want your baked beans on your clothes. So you've never done this. Never done what? You got to be more specific. Also, no elbows on the table. I'm bad about this. This is one that, let me also say, I don't follow all of these all the time. And that's not to say that I don't care to, it's that I just don't think about it. And again, if I'm in a more casual setting, I'm not going to follow all of them. But even in a like fancy setting, like let's say I'm at a rehearsal dinner for somebody's wedding, I'm going to see myself with my elbows on the table and go, oops, and put them down, because I'm bad about that one. I'm bad about that one. The napkin one, yeah. So the napkin catches the food. That's the other thing the napkin's good for. Try not to put the elbows on the table in a more formal setting. I think it just like takes up too much space. I'm not really sure where that one comes from. It's just kind of a rule. No reaching. So if you go to a restaurant, you'll see sometimes the servers be like, oh, pardon my reach, if they have to reach across the table, because it's actually seen as like kind of bad manners or in somebody's space. So if you need the pepper and it's right there next to your friend, don't be like, excuse me. First of all, your armpit's in their face. You're now in their business. Ask for it. Could you pass me the pepper? It's very easy. Just ask. Just ask. We don't want to reach across. Reach. You could knock something over. Again, you're just up in people's business. Then we don't want to be like that. No yelling down the table to chat. That's also rude. The whole table, especially if it's a long, bigger table, they don't need to know your conversation. You need to strike up a conversation with the people who are next to you or across from you. And you might be like, but I don't like them. Okay, but you still got to make up some small talk. That's just the nice thing to do, frankly. And it's courteous. Ask them. People love to talk about themselves. This is a whole different lesson, but just ask them questions about them, and then it'll go from there. No, oh, I already read that. No yelling down the table to chat with your friend. Don't do it. It's rude. This also goes without saying, don't talk with food in your mouth. No one needs to see that, okay? I don't want to see your half chewed up fried chicken. That's not what I want. I love fried chicken. I'm going to eat some with you. Let's not show it to each other, okay? Apparently I'm having a barbecue or some sort of like picnic in my brain because I've got baked beans, I've got fried chicken. This is not a fancy dinner, but you know, in my fancy dinner, I would have fried chicken. It's like my favorite food. Moving on. Okay, also pace yourself. Let me tell you that this is the one I'm probably the worst at, and I'm going to throw blame onto somebody else for this, okay? I know this is on me. This is my choice to eat as fast as I do because I eat so fast, but I'm going to blame the fact that in school, we had like 30 minutes to eat, and half of that time I had to stand in line to get my lunch, okay? So I'm like, oh, blah, 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 for like every day of my life until I was 18 years old. And it is so hard to break that habit. So I just eat so fast. It's also not good to eat fast because you tend to eat too much because your brain like doesn't get the message that your stomach is full until like 20 minutes after you started eating. And so in that first little window, you're eating all this food and you can way overeat. So if you slow down and you take your time to chew your food, to savor your food, to just sit and not be shoving it into your mouth, then you're going to be able to know when you're full. But I get this. There's a lot of reasons why people might feel like they need to scarf the food down. And again, this is one I'm really bad at. So I just am telling you, not as someone who does these things perfectly, just as someone who's like, hey, these are the expectations. It's going to make your life a little easier if you do this. And again, you know, you don't want to overeat either. Could upset your stomach. So just take it for what it is what I'm saying. This is not a let me show you how great I am at this, because I'm not. But this is just so you know, so that you are empowered to make those decisions for yourself. Yes, I do. I scarf food all the time. Oh my gosh. All right. Burping, this is a no-brainer. We should all know this. It's gross. It's just don't like, not at the table. Everybody burps, human bodily function. Keep it to yourself. If you are like, I do know how to do that, excuse yourself and go to the bathroom and then take care of your business and then come back. No chewing your mouth open. We already talked about that. Don't eat with your hands unless it's specifically designed for you to do that. Again, you're at a casual picnic. You've got fried chicken. Apparently, I want to eat fried chicken today because that's what I'm talking about. It's okay to eat fried chicken with your hand, or corn on the cob. You're at a picnic. But if you're at a fancy banquet, I can almost guarantee you that nothing you're served is going to get eaten with your hands. Maybe a dinner roll, maybe. Everything else you'll have to use a utensil for. Everything else. I have been to a 5-course dinner before. It's terrifying because there's a lot of silverware and they bring out food all the time. And you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to do this right? And we'll get there. We'll get there. Never insult the food. Never insult the food. Number one, you probably, if you're at this dinner, did not make the food. So it is rude to insult food that you yourself did not cook. Let's say you did cook it. It's still not a good look to bad mouth your own stuff. My grandmother, I love her, but she was always so bad about dissing her food and being like, oh, I didn't put enough salt in there. I took that out too soon. I shouldn't have this. And it was always really good. And it was actually like, it was kind of cute, but kind of annoying because you're like, this food tastes great. Please just sit with it and accept it. You don't have to brag about your food, but like you also don't have to say how bad it is either, even if you made it. So it's just not a good look to insult the food. Don't do it. And always thank the host because they went to the trouble of having you there, of providing you a dinner, of whatever else. Just say thank you. Even if you don't like the food, always thank the host. It's good manners. That goes a long way. People do pay attention to that. Did they thank them? I'll say this is kind of an aside. If someone takes you out to dinner and pays for your dinner, you thank them. When I grew up, of course, my parents, stepdad, they would pay for my food. And that was their job. As you know, I was their kid. Yeah, you got to give me food. I got to survive. But now when I come home, like I did last weekend, I'm an adult, they took me out to dinner. Now I thank them because it's different. They don't have to do that. It's not up to them anymore. I am now in charge of getting my own food. So it's a gracious thing. So do thank people when they give you food. If you go to a friend's house and the parents provide you pizza, or somebody brings you food, or they take you out to eat, thank them. It's just the nice thing to do. Nice thing to do. What happens if I don't like the food? This is an issue when we're at the clubhouse, because y'all know we have our own clubhouse facility. And when we're at the clubhouse, sometimes back in the pre-COVID days, we would cook food or we'd prepare food, and we would put a lot of effort into the food. We would try so hard to make it something that the kids who were coming that day would like. And most people would be like, oh, this is so good. This is great. Thank you. Whatever. We'd always get that one kid who would take a bite and be like, I don't like this. And maybe it's because they just don't care for it. Maybe it's because they're trying to be obnoxious. I don't know. But that does not jive well with us, because we're going to make that into a teachable moment. If you don't like the food, number one, you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. And if you don't care about that, that's not great, but you still should not say that you don't like the food. You wouldn't want somebody else to say they didn't like something that you put a lot of effort into. Number one. Number two, but what if you really don't? You don't have to lie. You could just say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't care for that. I would always encourage you, unless you're allergic to the food, to try a bite of it. Like if someone is offering it to you, take one, or take a small thing. Let's say it's I'll give you an example. Maybe it's like one of those little tiny sandwiches, like they're little triangles, little tiny little sandwiches, and they've got like a chicken salad inside, sometimes just a little white bread sandwich with a chicken salad. And maybe you take one, you're like, I really don't like that. You just set it back down on your plate. Don't spit the food out. Oh my gosh, do not do that. Just swallow the food and then be done with it. If someone's coming around with something and you don't like it. So example, I hate olives. I do not like olives. That's like the only food on the planet that I refuse to eat. I have never liked them. I've tried several times since being a kid to see if I liked it. Do not like it. Never going to like it. I hate them. Okay. I know if someone offers me olives, like let's say someone's like, would you like this olive bread? I'm going to say, no, thank you. I don't care for olives. You don't have to eat something you hate either, but there's a kinder, more respectful way of declining the food. So by saying, I don't care for that, or no, thank you, I'm full. No, thank you, I'll take something else. No, thank you. For some folks, they're vegetarian. No, thank you. Do you have a meatless option? It's okay to say things. You don't have to be like, that's disgusting. I hate that. John loves olives. Man, John, tomato. We all like different things, right? That olives, my best friend loves olives. She loves them. She eats them for like a snack by themselves. She has a jar of olives in my fridge for when she comes over. I do not touch them. And it's for her when she sits and she eats olives. But she has like the most backwards like food tastes of me. And that's okay. We always laugh about it because we're like the opposite. She loves all the savory foods, like savory is like, if you're not sure, it's like meat and bread, like all this like more salty, more like hearty flavors. I love sweet stuff. That's my thing. Sweet and not spicy at all. That's my gig. Bland, sweet food. So we like polar opposite stuff. But it's fine. Because if she offers me something, hey Ellen, would you like this? No, thank you. I don't care for that. And if I offer her something, same thing. Hey, would you like this? She doesn't like cookies. Would you like cookies? No, thanks. And I'm like, oh, I forget you don't like cookies. So it's fine. Just respectfully decline. You don't have to be rude. This is the part that takes a little bit of maturity. You don't have to say every single thing that crosses your mind. Let's say you take a bite of somebody's food and it tastes disgusting. You don't have to say, that tastes disgusting. Think it all day long. You can think it all day long. You can stay up all night thinking how gross that thing is. What you say to the person, though, is, oh, no, thank you. I don't care for those. I won't have any more. I'm good. Thank you so much. You don't have to be rude. That's the choice you have to make. You don't have to force yourself to like it. You do have the choice to be respectful about it. That takes maturity. That's the adulting. Okay, here's a picture of a typical table setting. All right, so let's say you go to a nice dinner, okay? And maybe you're like, I'm never going to a nice dinner. Okay, you think that now, but I'm telling you, one day you're going to end up at something nice. And this is what you might encounter right here. Let's say you sit down and this is what you got. Do you know what you're looking at? Do you know what you're supposed to use first? Do you know what things go to what? Okay, so I will tell you, some of this is hard. Let's just focus on the plates for a second. First of all, what you're going to do is you're going to take the napkin out of the napkin ring and you're going to put it in your lap, period, end of sentence. And you may want to wait until the food's almost there. No, no, and no. Yep. Take the napkin out of the napkin, put it in your lap. Get rid of that. We're going to take some of that down. The white plate is probably your dessert plate, if I had to guess. So set that one to the side. This next plate below, this brown plate, is probably your salad plate, okay? So you're gonna have a salad first in this meal. This green plate is probably your dinner plate, okay? The black plate at the bottom is probably, and get this, y'all, my mom has these at her house. It's called a charger, and it's usually just for decoration. I kid you not. There's like a fake plate at the bottom half the time that doesn't go for anything. That's also really prevalent in the South. You don't see that everywhere. But I'm going to guess based on this picture that that's what this black plate is. It's just an accent. It's like a decorative plate that holds your plate. I know that sounds silly, y'all. It's crazy. I'm not here to say it makes sense. It does not make sense, but that's what it is, okay? Also, if you're looking at this and you're not sure what to do, here's my trick, okay? Start from the outside and work your way in, okay? So let's say they're like, it's time for our salad. Well, you're going to start with your little fork over here, the outside fork. Let's say they come by with your soup. Start with the little spoon. That's your soup spoon. Those are on the outside. Here comes like your, well, actually, I think that's a dessert spoon. Anyway, dessert spoon's supposed to be up here. Regardless, this big fork is going to be your dinner fork. Your knife's going to be your dinner knife. And I think this spoon might be for your dinner as well, depending on what they serve you with. Here's your water glass. And again, this bowl is going to be for your soup. So this is like what you might see the fanciest of a dinner that you might encounter like at somebody's house. Let's say they're going all out. This is what we're looking at. Next. Okay, this is like go crazy. Okay, you sit down. I would be stressed to death if I sat down and I saw this in front of me. I'd be like, oh my gosh. Okay, let me see if I can work you through this. First of all, this is like you're going to go have dinner with the Queen, okay? The Queen of England. You're about to have dinner with her. Here's your napkin. Take your napkin out. First of all, you'll notice there's a lot less plates. That's because they're probably going to bring a lot of the plates out to you in this case. Why are there so many knives? All right, let's talk about some of these knives. There are a lot of knives, actually. I'm just now noticing. Okay, this is going to be your dinner plates. You've got a salad fork. You've got, this is looks like a 3-course meal. You've got a salad fork. You've got 2 other courses. Usually with these course meals, you've got like a salad and you've got like a fish that they'll serve you, and then they've got like a heavier thing, like a steak or a lamb or something. This looks like maybe like I don't know what this one's for. I would ignore this if I was up to you, because I think this one's your dessert fork up here. This is your dessert spoon. This is for your butter here. That's your butter knife. I think this is a resting spoon, or you pour your sauce in it. This is another dessert plate. There's your soup spoon. So when they come out with your soup, you're going to use this big fat one. Do not ask me what that's for. Don't know what that is. And then you've got a bunch of knives for cutting these various meats. These are also tons of glasses for various different things. You'll have a water glass. And then again, for these very fancy dinners with adults 21 and over, you would get served different types of wine or champagne in these glasses. What we're looking at: salt, pepper, et cetera, et cetera. This is insane. You're never going to see this. Like, I've never seen this in my life. So anyway, Moving on. Here is actually a graph to break it down. This is much more helpful. So we've got napkin, which is usually on top of the plate. Put that in your lap. Outside in. First, we start with our salad. Then we start with the dinner fork. Then we start with the dessert fork. Over here is your soup spoon. They bring you out soup or salad here in your soup bowl. Dinner spoon is like if there's something on the plate that needs to be eaten with a spoon. And then your dinner knife. Also, forks are always in the left hand. Nope, sorry. Fork is in the right hand, and the knife gets put into the right hand if you need to cut something. But most time, you're going to eat your fork with your right hand. And then you'll swap to cut if you have to cut food. Butter knife, plate. Your water glass is up here. Your red wine glass would be in the middle, and the white wine glass is down here to the side. You've also got your little plate for salad and your big plate for dinner. And again, if you have that fancy charger on the bottom, you're going to have an even bonuser plate, which, oh my goodness. So why does etiquette matter? We already talked about this, but you want to make sure that people aren't distracted by your lack of manners so that they can get to know you for who you are, number one. Number two, it's all about knowing when and how that table etiquette is important. So you need to know how to eat nicely, and it's all about knowing when. So meeting someone important or someone new, sometimes at work, you're going to need to eat with this in mind, fancier holiday type thing. Like these are the situations where you're going to need to eat this. Most of the time, you're not going to need to worry about this. You can just eat however you like. But there are going to be times where you need to keep this in mind. So if anybody has any situations where they think you might use table etiquette specifically, you can throw it out there. I would love to know, like, if I know like a military balls that happens at high schools a lot, and that'll be a time where you'd have to eat very fancy. Again, meeting somebody's parents for the first time, that would be important. So if you have any other situations that you think of, let me know. But we're about to play a quiz. So let me stop sharing. And then we've got meeting your boss for lunch. Absolutely. Your boss, you don't want to, or let's say some of these places, they will take you out to dinner before they hire you. Okay. And so you want to make sure that they don't not hire you because they think you don't eat with manners. That would be a silly reason for them not to hire you. I get it. They should hire you based on your experience and your resume and your merits, but that's not the world we live in. You want to make sure they don't totally discredit you and scratch you off the list because they watched you eat and they went, ugh, you know? So these things are important, okay? Let me pull up the quiz. We're going to see how well we paid attention. Y'all ready? Formal table setting quiz. Okay. Red wine glass. Which one of these glasses, 1, 2, or 3, is the red wine glass? Tell me 1, 2, or 3. I've got a 2 in the chat.
2.
2. I'm going to give you a 2. Correct. Which one is the white wine glass? Again, y'all need to know this. Which one? Third. Yup. Correct. Which one is the teaspoon? So let's say you've got tea you need to stir it with.
Smallest one.
The smallest one. So I've got 2 small ones. I've got this one. I've got this one, y'all. This one right here.
The one on the top. Yeah.
Okay.
The one on the top.
Ooh, that's a dessert spoon.
Oh.
Then the one on the bottom.
Correct. All right. Which one's my butter knife?
One on the far left.
Far left. This one here?
Yeah.
Correct. Which one is my salad plate? We got plate 1, we got plate 2, we got plate 3.
Plate 2.
2.
Plate 2. Which one is my dinner knife?
The one beside the teaspoon.
This one.
Yeah.
Correct. Which one is my water glass? This one.
The only other glass.
Yeah.
Or not the tea one. Not the tea glass.
Not this one?
No. Yeah, not that one.
Correct. Water is furthest away from you. Which one is the butter plate?
Under the butter knife.
Under the butter knife. Makes sense. Which one is your soup spoon?
The one you clicked on before.
This one here?
Yeah.
Or this one here?
Oh, that's your dessert spoon.
This is dessert spoon. So process of elimination. That's my soup spoon. Place card. So you can know where you're sitting at.
That card.
The one that looks like
Oh.
a card, probably.
Okay.
Yep, I forgot to mention that, but usually there's a card. Napkin, duh.
Far left.
Yep.
The
Cup and saucer. This would be for tea
The
or
tea.
coffee at the end.
Yeah.
You would serve tea or coffee
Yeah.
with dessert. Dinner plate. The
The
only
only
plate
plate.
left, probably. Yep. Salad fork. Left
the
or
small
right?
fork.
Or top.
Left.
Left, right, or top?
The top is probably dessert fork.
Okay, so
So I'm guessing left.
Yep, work outside end. Salad's gonna come before
The
your dinner.
Top fork.
Dessert fork.
Under the dessert spoon.
Top fork. Dessert spoon. Probably the only
Above
spoon
the
left. am I
dessert
right?
fork.
Yep. Dinner fork.
The only thing left in the whole thing.
Yes, 94,
Haha.
guys. Well done. You guys did a great job. A quick little table etiquette quiz. I told y'all this wasn't going to be a long one. There's just not as much to say about table etiquette. We could spend, otherwise we should just eat and try it out, right? Usually at the clubhouse, we would have like a fancy meal after this, usually where I would just serve like little sandwiches and that would be it. But if there are any questions or you're like, well, what about this? Or in what situation would this happen? Let me know in the chat and then we can talk about it. Otherwise, you're free to go forth and enjoy the rest of your day. But if you have questions, stay here. I'm going to take the recording off